And that's something I genuinely would like to know.
Where did you come from? Where did you go?
Where did you come from, Ash?
My name is KJ, and you're listening to the Supernatural Opinions podcast, where some things in this world are supernatural. My pronouns are she, they, and this is the podcast where I talk to my fellow Supernatural fans about Supernatural, and we share our supernatural opinions.
Everybody good?
Yep.
Yeah. Define good.
Everybody ready to record?
That'll work.
Okay, let's do it then. Today we're recapping Season 2, Episode 2, Everybody Loves a Clown, which originally aired on October 5th, 2006. And here to help me do that are my guests of the week, Meredith, Jordan, Lukas, and Audrey. We have a full crew. Meredith, remind everybody who you are.
All right, my name is Meredith. My pronouns are she and her, and I started my first week of the new term, so I'm busy now.
I love that for you.
Yay.
And Jordan, it's your first time back this season, so remind everybody who you are.
Hi, I am Jordan. I am at PsychicChick21 on TikTok, and my pronouns are she and her.
Love that. And we're having a real life besties moment because Lukas is here.
Yes.
Hello.
And do you want to give your pronouns, Lukas?
Yes, I am he, and my TikTok is the Doctor 6969, and my Instagram is the Doctor 26.
Awesome. And we have Meredith's sister Audrey back.
Hello again. My pronouns are she, her, and if you really want to, you can find me on Twitter at StareApparent.
This week's episode will contain spoilers for this episode and may reference previous episodes, but will not contain spoilers for later episodes of Supernatural. This week's episode is titled Everybody Loves a Clown, and that is a reference to the song by Gary Lewis and the Playboys, which came out in 1965. And also, we have to deal with a clown, but don't worry, because Sam Winchester is as uncomfortable as the rest of us.
Oh gosh.
Poor Sam.
They have to have some flaws.
This week's episode was written by John Sheehan and directed by Phil Segresha. We've seen both them before. John Sheehan wrote 5 episodes of Season 1, Skin, Hookman, Scarecrow, The Vendors, and Dead Man's Blood.
Those are great episodes.
Yeah, all good ones. And Phil Segresha directed twice last season, Nightmare and Providence. We should get used to him because he continues directing up to Season 14. And he's also going to be directing at least the first 2 episodes of the coming season of The Boys by Eric Kripke and now acted by Jensen Ackles.
I love the way you phrased that like it's a one-man show.
I mean,
it's only acted by Jensen Ackles.
I'm gonna pick it up and watch it just because Jensen's in the 3rd season. Like, I'm watching the first 2 seasons just so I understand what's happening and when he arrives in Season 3.
All I know about that show is Carl Urban.
That's right, we gotta watch it for Aomer.
I watched an episode or 2. It's quite a lot. There's a reason it's not on a network. On to the recap of this episode.
We're talking about real life issues.
We're doing an episode?
This episode opens with a recap set to Time Has Come Today by the Chambers Brothers, and then on to a little opening sequence with too many clowns until one inevitably kills an entire family, because what else would happen with a clown?
That was short, to the point.
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to get to the boys cremating John Winchester. That's where my interest lies.
Okay.
We had a lot of fun with John dying. But with the boys, they're like cremating John, and Dean is noticeably not crying. Even his like single tear that Jensen's so famous for, like, that's not even happening. He is stone-faced. Sam is very much like in tears.
I mean, it just must be so confusing. Like, here's this guy who's like basically their abuser, obviously. He also their father. Like, how do you even react to that?
Yeah, it's a lot of emotions, and then like Dean has this added emotional burden of this big secret that John has like laid on him moments before death. Like,
yeah.
That he can't tell Sam about, and we as an audience don't know yet. We all know, because we've all seen the show, but...
Well,
spoilers.
Spoilers.
Dean then lies right to Sam's face that their dad didn't say anything to him before his death. Obviously, that's not true.
Obviously, that's not really surprising either.
Yeah, not a surprise that Dean just lies about it.
That's what they do on the show.
Yeah.
Compartmentalization is a skill.
We then jump ahead a week, and Dean is rebuilding Baby at Bobby's. Not my favorite rebuilding Baby at Bobby's montage, but it works. Sam is trying to offer some help, help and some comfort, and Dean is just not here for it. He's not ready to accept any help from Sam. He thinks Sam's like babying him too much.
No, this is my comfort thing. Go away.
How dare you offer me emotional support in this time of grieving?
This is baby's job, not yours.
Baby and alcohol, it's all I need.
And murdering things.
They must not have been able to get Jim Beaver for this one, because I really could have used like an actual appearance. Like, they're at Bobby's, but Bobby's not present at any point in this episode.
It's like they didn't quite realize how much we needed Bobby.
Everyone
they needed a place for them to be, but they didn't have Bobby. So they just like were using the yard at Bobby's.
Bobby went out.
Sam has cracked John's voicemail password and finds a 4-month-old message from someone, Ellen, offering to help with the demon. They don't have any idea who Ellen is, which is a thing that we're going to talk about a little bit later. They choose to just go straight up, like, jump to let's track Ellen down and not ask Bobby about who Ellen might be. Like, they're staying with Bobby's, they're at Bobby's, they go and borrow a car so they can go to Ellen's, but like, you could have just asked Bobby. I'm sure he would have given you some information on Ellen, but it's fine.
Yeah, that's true.
It's fine.
I mean, maybe they would have if Jim had been there.
Yeah, they borrow this stupid squealy van from Bobby, which they do not bring back in One Piece. Bobby should stop lending them stuff now. If this is just like the start of this habit where they borrow things from Bobby or, you know, get support from Bobby and offer absolutely nothing in return and do not return anything in the condition to which it was lent.
I liked what Dean said about the van. It's like, I feel like a friggin' soccer mom.
But like a soccer mom that lives in a junkyard.
Yeah, because like an actual soccer mom would keep her van in much better condition.
It would be pristine, just like her children.
Yeah, she'd slap a coat of paint on it and take it to a car wash and like oil whatever is squeaking. I don't know if it's the brakes or the belt, but something is squeaky.
But for a monster hunter, it's basically the vehicle of shame.
Yeah, I mean, Dean is just so attached to the family car. And he puts so much of his masculinity into the car too, that any deviation.
I mean, to be fair, Baby's a better looking car than that van.
Yeah, the van isn't great. I don't know why I'm defending the van.
Like, even if it were in better condition, just no.
I think I'm defending the van because it's the only vehicle in Bobby's entire junkyard that will run, and they don't bring it back.
Rude.
If I really, really wanted to go and like kidnap small children, I would do it out of that van.
Going down this thought path and
Top 10 ways to kidnap people. Go!
I mean, all children have been warned to stay away from vans that look like this.
Well, apparently nobody warned that child not to let strangers in your home, especially if they look like a clown.
That is fair.
Seriously.
That is fair. We did just watch a child invite a strange clown into their home.
Yeah,
I'm fairly
Clowns
certain.
are your friends.
Yeah, no, I'm fairly certain that child was sheltered, and she has never been allowed to watch a scary movie, and it shows.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that is true.
My thing about that kid, though, like, we probably know what happened to one of her parents. Like, she's gonna be screwed up, like, growing up now.
That is true. I did breeze over that child a lot.
Well, like, think about it. She let the clown in, and from the intro, we know what happened.
Yeah, did not go well. The boys arrive at Harvelle's Roadhouse, which is, I think, supposed to be in Nebraska.
Yeah.
Which isn't that far from where Bobby lives, really. It's too early in the day for them to be open, so they just break in because the boys are rude. And there's a dude sleeping on the pool table in, like, the middle of this, like, empty bar.
Aesthetic.
Yeah. Sam goes into the kitchen and Jean is held at gunpoint by Joe, who Jean disarms only to get punched in the face, as he deserves.
They have banter, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
I'm just trying not to get too excited because these three are my favorites.
Right, they're so good.
I love them.
Jean's like, Sam, I need help. And Sam's like, yeah, I'm also being held at gunpoint by Ellen. And Ellen's like, wait, Sam and Dean? You guys John's kids? And then she's like, happy to see them. Ellen and Joe are my loves. I'm so happy that we're finally meeting them. And I have a renewed appreciation for Ash.
I always love Ash. Just one of my favorite guys ever.
Like, because it took me so long to watch Supernatural for the first time, that a lot of these, like, early seasons characters that, like, spoiler, aren't around for very long, Ellen and Ash and Joe, Bella, like, you know, people that, like, to me, like, don't have, like, long-term consequences on the show.
Yeah.
Like, weren't that important to me the first time, because it took me 6 years to watch the show.
And now you're realizing they should have had long-term consequences on the show. show.
Yeah, and they actually kind of do in a lot of ways. Like, they actually are more important than I initially gave them credit for. It's just, like, so much happens over the course of 327 episodes that, like, the beginning gets a little fuzzy by the end. It's a lot to remember.
I will still love Ash no matter how short his term was.
Ash is amazing. I love him.
The actor was also on an episode of The X-Files, which is a thing I say a lot on this podcast.
I actually have it in my notes because it's actually kind of it's kind of referenced.
It is?
Yeah.
Cool, I should have rewatched this episode.
I'll get to that in my notes. It's like half a page down. I have so much to say about Ellen and Jo. Ellen is like, I heard that John was getting close to the demon. I offered help. And he's like, what the fuck? We were looking all over for Dad for a year. And this lady was just like hearing about him casually. No one called us and told us he was getting close to the demon.
In Ellen's defense, she probably didn't know that John wasn't telling his kids anything.
Yeah, like that's not
true.
Ellen's fault. But it's just like another example of how isolated Sam and Dean are from everybody. That people are talking about John and what John's doing. And like someone that doesn't like John and hasn't talked to him in a very long time is like hearing about him and reaching out to help him. Meanwhile, his own sons are like scouring the country and coming up with nothing.
I feel like from a writer's point of view, like Sam and Dean's isolation is probably just supposed to like kind of mirror the audiences. So they're surprised at everything. They're finding new things out as the audiences. But like in the actual universe, they're
it just makes
so
John such a
isolated
bad
from
person.
everything. Yeah. And it's like, oh gosh, it's probably partly unintentional, but it's not good.
They have to deliver the news of John's death, which Ellen is very shocked and sorry to hear. And she says that John was like family once, and yet the boys have no memory of Ellen at all, which says a lot about how isolated they were from anyone. We talked about this before in an episode, I believe. I don't remember which one, but we definitely did talk about it at some point, about how the boys should have been old enough to know Ellen at the time that John and Bill were hunting together. The fact that John, who is so ready to leave his children with anybody who will take them, wasn't leaving them with Ellen is such a huge red flag, because she probably would have actually been the person to do the right thing and just like kept them permanently.
Yeah.
She's like the only babysitter we know of that actually has a kid of her own.
Yeah, they would have had they would have stood a chance of not growing up screwed up if they'd stayed with Ellen.
Yeah, she wouldn't have let them go with John. Like, she would have been like, what you're doing is wrong. She would have did exactly what Bobby attempted to do.
Jo could have been their sister.
Jo could have been
That would have been weird.
I don't know, I kind of support
Dean.
that.
Everything is weird for Dean.
This is true.
I mean, Dean, we're going to talk about Dean and Jo as this episode goes on, but if that had happened, I think that Jo and Dean's, like, already mostly platonic relationship would just be more platonic. But yeah, Ellen makes a point of mentioning that she knows how close Dean and John were. Considering that she hasn't seen the kids, like seen the boys since they were little kids, that's also interesting. It says a lot about Dean and John's relationship, or possibly about other interactions she's had with John later in their lives.
It would just be really nice if they'd grown up knowing Ellen, because she's so
Right?
great.
Ellen is so good. They really needed an Ellen. They needed a woman's touch, honestly.
Preferably Ellen.
Yeah. Ellen says that she and Jo can't do much for the boys and introduces them to the absolutely legendary Ash, who Jo describes as a genius 3 seconds before the flirting with Dean starts. This whole episode is like this weird, not weird, but like interesting contrast between Dean and Ash interacting and Dean and Jo interacting.
Ash is a bro.
Ash is a bro, but the way that Ash interacts with Sam and the way that Ash interacts with Dean is not the same.
Not at all.
That doesn't surprise me.
Ash looks at John's like demon hunting folder, which is not his journal. It's like a separate folder that I'm not sure that we've actually seen it before.
Interesting.
We've seen the research on the walls, but that's it.
Yeah, all of a sudden it's like in a folder, and it's like Ash is impressed with John's ability to track the demon this way. Again, I say John's a bad hunter, but he's good with patterns, because Ash is like, nobody could track this pattern, and Sam and Dean just go, Dad could. Don't know what to tell you, man.
Just once in my life, I need to do research on everything, and I need to like print it out and tape it on the wall and like have yarn connecting different points. Just once.
Just for the aesthetic. I don't know what I'll actually do with it, but just for the aesthetic.
It won't help me at all, but it'll look cool.
And if anybody comes in, you can just say, do you like my spider's web?
Between Supernatural and Teen Wolf, I am a big fan of the like string and wall like method.
And Sherlock.
Elementary.
Oh yeah, they did do that on Elementary.
Ash is an absolute genius, and like as Joe promised, and he's like, I need 51 hours to put all this together, but I can definitely do it. Dean